Aloha, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the August meeting of the Elizabeth Kahanu Hawaiian Civic Club. Very excited this evening to have with us Hinaleimoana Wong-Kalu, has some mana'o to share about Hu'ulana and Kuleana. And I've heard from friends who have heard this mana'o, and I'm very interested in hearing it myself. And so with that, Hina, welcome to our club meeting, and the floor is yours.
Oia. Mahalo, Dre. Ano ai ke aloha ia kākua pauloa e nā hoa kipa o loko ke a hui siwila no hoi no ka maikai me ka pono o ka inoa o Kahanu wahine. Mahalo anu ia o kou kleo kono mai iau e launa pū no kākou no ke ia hola o ka ho'o maka ana I ke ahi ai nani mai kai. Mahalo. For those whom I may not be familiar with or may not be familiar with me, I am Hinaleimoana Wong-Kalu. O no he keiki no wau, no keia aina o ahu. Hānau ia no wau ma o ahu nei, ma ka moku o kona. O kona o ia hoi o Honolulu. O kona o Honolulu me kou. Ke la no na inoa e kolu o ke ia moku that I'm coming to you from. O ku'uho me aloha, aia no I ke awawa o nu'uanu ma kahi o pu'unui. Aia no ma pu'unui ko mako home aloha, ko mako ohana, ma ka au o ko'u ohana pake, ko'u makua kane no hoi. Aia no I uka loa I nu'uanu o pu'u lani huli. O ia hoi o pali look out I ka nui lehu lehu. Maupopo ia o ko pali look out te. Malaila no o pu'u lani huli. Pu'u lani huli kahi ki e loa I nu'uanu. Mai uka loa e kolu mauwai kahe nei I ke kai o mamala. O ia no o wai kahalulu, pū wehu wehu, me nu'uanu. Ke la no nā wai e kolu, kahe nei I ke kai o mamala. O ka makani halau loa, a me ka makani kula I kanaka, nā makani o ku'u aina hānau. O ka ua lihau, me ka ua pōpō kapa, nā ua kaulana o ku'u aina hānau. I open up this space also by invoking my ohana. I told you where I am from, but you might not know my ohana. O wau, he keiki no wau, nā ko'u māmā me ko'u pāpā. O Georgette Moana Matias, Laua o Henry Daiau Wang. O ko'u mau kūpuna, o ia no o Mona Kanani o Kalani ki aloha, me John Furtado Matias, Edith Kamkiu Lok, me Henry Gunlim Wang. O wau kalako keiki, o wau kalako mo'opuna. That is the summation of Komohina's understanding of identity. And the reason why I say that to you all today is because there's much to do about who are we in the context of today's society. And in order for me to speak to you about the other half of my presentation, which is talking about Kulana and Kuleana, I am required to say to you that who I am coming to you to speak to you today is I'm coming to you because you're looking to me to hopefully speak about something that's going to be meaningful, hopefully to maybe empower you, maybe to give you different perspective. What I do endeavor to do is to challenge your centering and how and where you see yourself in the mix of things. And I say this because many of us within the Hawaiian community, at least from where I sit, um, it's it's an interesting quandary to consider who we are as Hawaiian people. So in order for the Kulana and Kulena lesson to have impact, I kind of need to walk you down this road for another moment here. Um, I'm going to put myself out there because now I'm speaking to a Hawaiian organization that has Hawaiians in it, and I don't know each and every one of your individual respective understandings and experiences as a Hawaiian or as someone who is in the Hawaiian community or involved with a Hawaiian organization such as this. But in Hawaii, the name and face Kumuhina is known for several things. One of them, people think that it might be a rather great focus. In Western circles, somebody like myself would say, "Hi, I'm Hina and I'm trans and my pronouns are." But I can't do that in this presentation. And I don't do that in my presentations because my centering is based on me being Kanaka and everything that has to do with my life and advocating for our language, our culture, and our history. So, what am I saying? I'm saying that I am Hinaleimoana. I am the child of my parents and grandparents that I just spoke to you about. I am of this land. My birth sands, Ku'uonehanau, is here on the island of Oahu. For those of you who are born and raised here, whether you may be ethnically Hawaiian or not, because I don't know who is who in the room, and I can't just assume. I might think that everybody's Hawaiian, but there might be some that are not. Because I've heard Dre say that everybody is welcome to attend this session. Being here in Hawaii and allowing culture and language to influence how we see the world then needs to reflect that Hawaii is at our core, it's at our piko. Hawaii is our motherland, Hawaii is our homeland, Hawaii is our mainland. And so in the one small component of my life that talks about that word mahu, mahu is simply an adjective. It just tells a little bit about me, but it doesn't define my life. The most important things for each and every one of us in this room this evening, I challenge you, do you know the elements of where you were born and raised? Do we have a chat? Okay, we have a chat. Please, could everybody type in where you are from, what island, and if you are able to comment further down where on that island you're from, so that I know who is in the room with me. And while you're doing that, I know that you might be sipping something. So here, aloha everybody. This is my iced tea here. So I'm going to sip my iced tea while you all type in the chat. Who do we have? All right. Ho'olehua. Molokai. Manana o ahu. Kailua o ahu. Nana kuli o ahu. Kalihi o ahu. Maunalua me kahala o ahu. Kahana maui. Ooh, aloha mai, aloha mai. Waya kea. Oh yeah, anyone else? Is that all? Alia Manu. Okay, now, my question for all of you is, how many of you know I don't want anybody to take offense to this, but I'm just going to ask for the sake of asking. Is there anybody who's not ethnically Hawaiian in the room?
We have a handful.
Oh, we do. Okay. And that is my kai. Let me politely and kindly say to the non-Hawaiians in the room, have a rest. Don't worry, because now I'm going to turn on the fire to the Hawaiians in the room. Hawaiians, hello Hawaiians. Oh, you fellow Hawaiians, do you know the name of the winds and the rains of your land? Do you know the highest peak of your aina? Do you know elements? Do you know epithets? For example, o ahu o kakuhi heva, or moloka i nui ahina, moloka i pule o'o. Do you know these things? And this is a rhetorical question. It's not meant for you to have to type anything out any further. But again, ho'olehua, manana, kailua, nana kuli, kalihi, mauna lua, kahana, waya, kea alia manu. I'm going to pick kalihi. John, where's John? There's John Rego. Okay. John, do you know the name of the wind of Kalihi, and do you know the highest peak? Ole? Ole, okay. um, Please do not hesitate if you wish to turn on the microphone and yell out something in an answer. That is completely fine. Thank you for posting it here in the chat. All right, so here is the name of the wind of Kalihi. Kani o Kalihi. Haupe'epe'e. All right, so when Hawaiians say we have a relationship to the land, I am challenging each and every one of you. I'm going to start with the Hawaiians first, because Hawaiians is the one that we're supposed to have this relationship. The non-ethnic Hawaiians, it's going to be up to you to see that there's a possibility for there to be resonance even within you, because you have a chance to look at where do you live now and where do you come from and what is the narrative of where you come from. But again, so the purpose of us talking about this in here is to center ourselves first to Hawaii. So anybody who says, yeah, I'm a proud Hawaiian, yeah, I love being in Hawaii, what exactly is it that is supposed to allow us to do that and centering ourselves? So when Kumuhina, when I center myself in this concept of identity, I know my identity is predicated upon genealogy and land. Mo'oku auhau and aina. Let me write that here. Mo'oku. Oh, what happened? Mo'oku auhau. And okay, Mo'oku auhau and aina. The two basic understandings. Mo'oku auhau is genealogy and aina is land. So anywhere you go in the Pacific, even when you ask Asians, same kind of story. You can say, oh, who's your family? Where are you from? Oh, you folks from over here. Or what island are you from? What valley? What part of the island? And the modern day way of asking is, what school did you go to? And then when you try to whittle down and you try to establish further connection, you said, what year did you grad? So Hawaiians that I know that speak Hawaiian as a first language, they don't deal with American etiquette of, oh, not supposed to ask somebody's age. They say, oh, how old are you? We don't have to mince words and say, what year did you grad? Because we know you're asking the question, how old are you? Because we want to know what generation. We want to know if there's commonality in our understanding. That is always the goal of of being Hawaiian and being Pacific Islander is making connections. So, okay, everybody good on Mo'oku Auhau and Aina. Everybody all good? Okay. So
Yes,
if
ma'am.
we, yes, mahalo. Um, so centering ourselves then, kulana and kuleana, and I share this openly with you. This is not a talk about mahu, but I have to include it so that you understand that whereas in other areas of the world and from a American perspective, for some, identity is talking about sex and gender, and it's talking about relationships, and it's talking about all those kind of things. So for me, kumuhina is not about any of that. My centering is again to my land and to my genealogy, my family, and my role in society. This lesson applies to me, but it very well does and can and should apply to everyone in this room. So whether you're Kane, whether you're Wahine, or somewhere in between. And the somewhere in between, the word for that is the word I mentioned to you, it's Mahu. So Kane, Wahine, Mahu, it don't matter who you are. Here's the two words that everybody should know. Uh-huh. Everybody see it? Kulana and Kuleana. Kulana. Kulana is your rank. I don't know if you want to take a note. You can take a note if you like. If you don't want and you're just digesting this mentally, internally, great. Kulana, your role, your rank, your station, your status, your title, your position, your place, all of those things. So I'm just going to reduce it to one word and just say it's your role, it's who you are. Kulana. Let me go here since I know Luan. Luan, please can you turn on your mic and tell me your position overall for all of our civic clubs? What is your kulana? What's your role? What's your rank or your standing?
My kulana as the pu'uku treasurer is to mind all the finances and money and all the transactions that come in for the Association of Hawaiian Civic Clubs and making sure that we pay whatever needs to be paid. That is my kuleana, and balancing, reconciling the account and reporting that to the executive board and to our executive committee. And at the annual convention to the membership.
Mahalo. Okay, so hold on now. You went race right ahead because you was bang right on the spot. Your kulana for the purpose of class tonight, our little session. Kulana, the role is you're the pu'uku, you're the treasurer. That's the role.
Yes.
The kuleana that comes is what I heard you say was you do all the reporting, keep the books, right? You make sure that all the money is in order, make sure it's accounted for. You have to do presentation and report writing. You got to provide that for everybody. What else you got to do?
And then the bank reconciliation. So mostly all the transactions, paying the bills, doing our filings, and then reporting that to the committee, the executive committee, and to the general membership at the annual convention.
Okay. And are you the sole person that has this responsibility?
I do this under the guidance of our finance committee, and then with the authority of our executive board.
Maikai. Okay, so if all of us look at this example right here, we have kulana and kuleana. So for all purpose and intent, it's Luann's role that she is the person responsible for the finances of civic clubs. And her kuleana then involves all the things that we just talked about. Is it Kumuhina's job to come in and insert myself in Luann's job and offer Luann commentary and advice on how to do her job?
No.
No. It is not. What would Luann and what should Luann say if Kumuhina was to ever be so maha'oi to do such thing? What would you say, Luann?
I would revert to the report that is given to the membership at the annual meeting. And then maybe probably at our quarterly executive board meetings. I can let you have a copy and see that report.
Mahalo for your so politically polite answer. I was hoping you was going to say, Hina, maha'oi. You get no business telling me what to do, and you get no business asking me any of this because you have no kuleana. And so if I can bring it around now. So we did, this is one example, kulana, kuleana. All of our Hawaiian people and people in Hawaii, it's a buzzword sometimes, kuleana. It's everyone's kuleana. No, it ain't everyone's kuleana. Certain things is not everyone's kuleana. The finances and the budget and doing all those things, it's not Kumuhina's kuleana. So Kumuhina doesn't need to get all up in arms about it. Kumuhina doesn't need to comment on it. Kumuhina doesn't need to go maha'oi and niele into Luann's business. Kumuhina can slow her roll and focus where she's supposed to be focusing on elsewhere in the community. I have nothing to do with the role and the responsibilities that Luann holds. Now, acceptance. Let's shift for a moment. And I'm going to stay on Luann's name just because she gave me an easy example to follow. If Luann is doing excellent job, then Luann stays in that job and everybody love and go, yay, mahalo. If Luann is not managing things, and if Luann is messing up, no can handle. If Luann, for whatever reason, you know, we know that Luann is not one of those kind of people. We know that Luann is like this. But Luann, tell me, if somebody wasn't doing their job, what happens if they're not doing your job, especially with the job that you have?
I think it comes to the attention of the executive board. And the executive board would have to act on that, especially if it's been reported, if there's been something that was done in error, if something was found not to be correct or inaccurate. It would be the executive board that would have to take action on that.
Exactly. And it's nobody else's place to do that, right? It's
Correct.
the executive board. Okay, so maybe people can start to see that the term kuleana is used widely in our community. And Hawaiians especially, depending on what the topic is, everybody will feel that they have the kuleana to go and say, to go and do, and I gotta speak up on this, and I have to put myself out for that. But sometimes, in order for you to have kuleana, the term kuleana is talking about what now? Duty, obligation, responsibility, and sometimes jurisdiction, and sometimes authority. So kulana is a different understanding. Kulana is a different word. Kulana, kuleana. Let me hana ho. Kulana, kuleana. If your role empowers you to do something, may you do it. If your role supports or sustains you to do something, do it. But if your role, you have no business in certain other things, don't do it. You know, sometimes some people are overachievers, which is not a problem. And sometimes people are perfectionists. And so, you know, when you come across people doing other jobs and you say, oh, girl, look at this. And, you know, like they're helpless and hopeless sometimes. Doesn't everybody in this room know somebody who's helpless and hopeless in certain things, and you just feel aloha no, poor thing for them, and you gotta go kokua them because it's just bugging you, it's driving you nuts. Like, oh my gosh, look at this. Here, let me help you. Don't lie. How many of you guys do that? You guys do that, right? Okay, I want you to stop and think about what this lesson of Kulana and Kulana is meant to do. My life has gotten so much better and so much easier because the organization I work for, Hawaiian Council, Hawaiian Council, formerly known as Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement. By the way, fun, random, but inconsequential fact. Did you all know that at one time I was one of the biggest antagonists towards the name Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement? Did you all know? And did you all know that I was very much anti what the mission, or well, what the work at that time was years ago? I was one of those people. I was someone who I bristled and I was like, because I didn't agree with what was being done. I didn't agree with the politics. So I used to challenge and I used to raise my voice all the time. I used to, I was actually kind of mean to people. That was a different Kumuhin a long time ago. But in 2025, even more so now, understanding Kulana and Kuleana. In my case, I'm going to shift away from Luann because I think that she's had enough about me, using her name and her role and responsibility as the example. I'm going to shift to me. I receive requests to speak to people all the time, and requests can be to talk about this kind of stuff. I'm feeling very comfortable speaking to you all in the room because this is from within my own community, and I know several of you on this in this room. Kumuhina, under the context of our organization, Hawaiian Council, I wear the title. I hold the role of ambassador. What does that mean for me? The role of ambassador means that my responsibilities, duties, and obligations include but not limited to teaching in the community, make presentation. I can accept requests to engage the community for whatever it is that the community felt I had something to contribute. I can and will be deployed directly from my boss, Kuhio Lewis. If Kuhio cannot show up for a function, an event, or a meeting, and if he chose that I was the appropriate one to go in his place, I can and will. Because it might be a front-facing, public face kind of, we need to show up for the name of our organization and for the work. So I might get the call and he says, Kumuhina, you go. So is my work narrowly confined? No. My work can be very encompassing because of the role that I serve. In the organization, my role is also to be spiritual anchor for my boss and for the organization. Also within the organization, my role is to be a cultural anchor and cultural advise and guide. There are two of us who do this. It's myself and Kumu Mehana Okala Hind. But she's on the opposite end. She serves in the role of senior advise to the boss. She's the political, administrative, technical advice. I'm the spiritual and the emotional advice. We hit it from two different angles. But you see, in my case, the things that I can do when it comes to culture, my kuleana, I can overlap with my coworker Kumu Mehana because it's through the lens of culture. And we can essentially do similar things that each other can do. But my role and who I am allows me to be someone that can be an intercessor. I can intervene. I can be the one in the organization to ho'oponopono a situation. I can be the one to be sent to, how do I say? Example. Hawaiian Council has provided much support in the community, especially coming out of COVID. There were rent relief, mortgage relief, and we provided housing. And so on the island of Maui, there was one tenant that we had that had fallen way out of compliance, and my coworkers had done all that they could to try to get this Hawaiian back on track and not jeopardize the rest of the work. But it just was not possible. So then the question becomes, okay, what do we do? And how do we handle this? Now, from a Hawaiian organization, I'm sure that no Hawaiian wants to see their fellow Hawaiian, especially given our plight and our situation now in our own home. We're a minority in our own home, we're disenfranchised, and if anyone knows our history, our Hawaiians are some of the most poor-thing people, especially because it's our own home. So no Hawaiian wants to send another Hawaiian packing their bags down the road and said, okay, brah, you gotta go. Right? Nobody wants to do that. But we had to do it. So who was in a position to be able to go do it? Was it my boss, Kuhio? No, that's not his job. He has way more important things to do. Is it the financial officer? No. Is it the policy advocate and compliance? No. Is it the HR? No. The beauty of being the ambassador is that I can and will take on that kuleana, that duty, and that's what I did. And when I went to speak to that Hawaiian, it was an emotional moment, but that Hawaiian understood. But I don't think anybody else could have, I don't think anybody else was in the role, nor has the work capacity and responsibility to do that. How does this apply to you? Again, let me back up. Identity, especially for those of us who are ethnically Hawaiian, if we say we're Hawaiian and if we understand whatever it is that we're supposed to understand about being Hawaiian, do we have a connection to our land? And do we have a connection to the families that we say we come from? And are we honoring this understanding to the fullest? Because it's part and parcel of what makes us Kanaka. The second component, therefore, is kulana, kuleana. When we live by the term aloha, aloha is not only hello, goodbye, and love, but it communicates with it a sense of dignity, honor, and respect. So if we live by the understanding of aloha, does somebody like me have to be pushed out or disenfranchised? Or does somebody who is not employed, do they have to be looked down upon? If somebody is of a darker skin color or some other ethnicity, do they have to be looked down upon because they're not a particular ethnicity? What we see in the world, there's a lot of things that go on in the world that are very, very contradictory to what the understanding of aloha is and how aloha works and what aloha requires of us. But again, for the purpose of today, kulana and kuleana. Sometimes our lives find ourselves doing too much. Sometimes our lives find ourselves surrounded by people who don't do enough. And how many of you have somebody in your life or somewhere in your circles, you don't know what they're doing and you don't know, they're just taking up space, but they're not doing much? How many of you guys get these kind of people? You guys get, right? Okay, now, if you have these kind of people, my question to you is, do you empower those people to do nothing because you're doing too much? Is there somebody around you? Is it you or is it somebody around you that's doing too much, and it empowers, it aids and abets that person doing nothing to just do nothing? Because somebody had to come in and say, no, he not do him good, so I'm going to do him anyway. Dre, I see you laughing. Can you share with us why are you laughing?
Because that's the whole story of my life.
Do tell, are you at liberty to share anything for the purpose of this lesson?
No, I think it's in my DNA, right? When I see someone not doing it as well as it needs to be done, it's easier to just go do it rather than figure out how to get them to do it at the standard or, what is
Right,
required
right.
and what is expected. And that is true, I think, for work. It is
Yeah,
true for community stuff.
yeah,
Um, and even in Ohana stuff, right?
right.
Someone trying to do it and it's cute, but it's not how it needs to be done. Yeah.
Okay, so now here's
Let me just
where
say, I feel very seen right now.
that's good. And I'm thankful, and everybody should respect and honor the fact that you're you're being authentic and upfront about recognizing the elements of this lesson today. Being able to recognize it is acknowledging that you were willing to look at Kulana and Kuleana. Now it doesn't just because you acknowledge it doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to change your ways. Only you can change your ways if you saw value in changing them. Here's where we get into the weeds a little bit. Sometimes who we are and who other people are, and like we can be surrounded by people at work, we can be surrounded by people at home, whatever is our community circle. This here, right here, is a community circle. So whatever situation we find ourselves in, kulana and kulana is important. And our relationship with people. So here's another rhetorical question. Have you ever found where sometimes it's hard for you to get people to want to join you? Or sometimes it gets hard in maintaining certain relationships, and like whereas you might have been close for other things, it seems like there's a distance. Or sometimes people like to be confrontational or abrasive, or sometimes there's always some sort of vibe, and then you're just like, okay, well, you just take care of that, and then I gotta go do this. But there's not sometimes a lot of this, and sitting in a place of real comfortability with each other. Because I think for me, at the end of my day today with you, I'd like you to consider the power of Kulana and Kulana to help you in your day-to-day relationships and in your day-to-day um, just existence. Um, Let me pull it back to me. Kumuhina used to be someone who used to speak on a myriad of things. I used to comment on social media, and sometimes my commentary was filled with vitriol, filled with negativity, filled with profanity, filled with all kind. And I was reminded by several people, Kumuhina, you need to remember that your name has been elevated to a place of respect, and people have aloha for your name. So depending on how you say something, it matters. And when you say something, you should know that it goes far. And the words continued on to tell me, Kumuhina, you bring down your own personal value because you don't know your worth. You don't know who you are. You don't know your kulana. You do not recognize your role, your place, your station, your status in and amongst the community. And therefore, you just, with your mouth or with your finger, and you keyboard warrior over here. F, 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 F. Kuwihina, you're sabotaging your own self. And the people who really cared about me had to sit me down and said, you really should think about before you go over there ranting and raving and doing all this kind of stuff. And that was some of the best advice that people could give me. But again, I can articulate this through the lens of these two words, kulana and kulana. If I know who I am in the community, which is not anybody in particular, but well, I'm your guest speaker for tonight, so I guess I had something to contribute, right? So if I was that person that you folks chose to have come speak to you, must mean that I was of some value or worth. And so I should not diminish that integrity, that respect, and I should not do something that's contradictory to where I've worked my name. And that also helps me to not stress. So now I remind myself and said, Kumuhina, is this becoming of your kulana? Is this becoming of your role and your place in our community to just be so reactionary? Kumuhina, is this going to serve the greater purpose that you stand for? And does this respect and honor the work that you've availed yourself to by you going and inserting yourself over there when you don't have any business over there? These are the kinds of questions that I find myself asking myself. And thus, life has become so much easier. Now when I look, see, I have my phone here, and now when I look on social media and here I go ready to go, and then I stop and said, no, wait, Hina, no. Your role. You don't have to be the one that comments. You don't have to be the one that goes after you. You don't have to do all that. That's doing too much, Hina. Slow your roll and know your role. You're never going to be able to slow your roll if you don't know your role. And the reason why I usually want to slow your roll is because you really should understand that it does matter where you fit in the schematic of home, family, community to know your duty, obligation, responsibility. Or do you have the authority to speak? Do you have the authority to go over there and insert yourself? Do you have the jurisdiction? Did somebody appoint you as the one to go and inside, whoop, and there you are. Poke yourself inside over there. You know something, I'm just gonna tell you this, blah, 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 blah. And you never know, because some people will never tell you. They're not gonna tell you to your face, but they're gonna be thinking, oh, the hell, here she goes again. What the hell now? You know, and then they roll their eyes, and then they're not gonna like you. Then they're not gonna want to work with you. They're going to be oppositional to you. They're going to be confrontation to you. They're going to be aggressive to you. They're going to be counterproductive to you. And so you see, this is just yet another element of the benefit of knowing your role, knowing your place, and knowing, do I have the wherewithal? Do I have the jurisdiction? Do I have the authority? Is it my place to take on this duty, to take on this responsibility? At this point, it's good for me to ask a question. How are we doing? Temperature check. Is this lesson having any resonance with people here online today? Can you all see where, again, it's not just about kuleana. I hate now when I see, oh, it's everyone's kuleana. No, it ain't everyone's kuleana. No, go tell Kumuhina to go cook something. I'm not the cook, that's my brother Alan Wong. My brother is the chef in the family. You guys want cuisine, you guys want gourmet, you guys want fancy food. Don't ask Kumuhina. Go ask Alan Wong. This is Hina Wong. Hina Wong is not Alan Wong. And likewise, don't go ask Alan Wong to go chant and open up and go offer prayer at the beginning of your the kind. Have you ever noticed that you selected somebody because you said, oh yeah, we'll go ask them. But couple cents short. No, it never come true because you guys would go, you guys wanted that person over there, but that was the wrong person to go ask. Who the hell told you go ask them? They don't know nothing about doing whatever it is that you ask them. They're not competent in that area. They're not confident in that area. No, but no, you had to go and ask them. Am I right? I see you guys laughing. You guys are like totally like, ha ha ha. Now you guys get it, right? Okay. I need you guys' feedback, because your feedback, especially from those of you, especially if you have your cameras on, your feedback can serve as the catalyst for everybody to really like hit home with this lesson. And everything you do now, you're gonna stop yourself and go, wait, kulana. Is this my role? Is it my place? And do I have standing? And therefore, should I take this on or should I not take this on? Okay, because if you don't know your kulana, you will never know your kuleana. Never. You'll be all over the place. All right. Those of you who are cameras on, since you're brave enough to have camera on, is there any commentary, response, feedback?
Well, I will encourage everyone to unmute, camera on, not on, whatever, and just, I mean, several points, right, resonated, but I have this idea we should make t-shirts for the Civic Club convention that say, know your role and slow your role, because we have, you know, it's a helpful reminder sometimes during convention, I think, to, you know,
If you do that, you have to put kulana first. Kulana and kuleana. Know your role, slow your roll.
we'll be sure to give you a commission because I think this thought has really I think inspired how we should think about this, especially in the Civic Club context.
Right?
So I wanna see anyone wanna unmute on camera and
Yeah, I like know what you guys'
then
reactions are. And you guys, Jay, you said everybody was having libations and stuff. I don't see anybody drinking anything. You guys just only watching.
I have my black box Merlot, which is making, you know, between the Kumahina TED Talk and the Merlot, I'm having quite a lovely afternoon. And Kim, right, camera has a drink. That's the rule. That's the Elizabeth Kahanu Hawaiian Civic Club rule. Have a drink. That's the first rule.
And have something to eat. Thank you.
Anyone
Sorry, I'm not
wants?
getting drink because I drive.
Kale aina aloha.
Aloha, Hina.
Aloha.
Anyone have feedback, questions even?
I like pick on the Hawaiians in the room. What Hawaiians? What you guys get for say Hawaiians? Come on.
Well, I found this really inspiring. I'm a leader, one of the leaders in the organization that I work for. I'm really a reticent leader. I think I know my kulana and I know my kuleana, but I'm always asking the why. Why is it that I do this, and why is it, that I'm here? And I can't just leave it up to the universe. So your talk was very inspiring. Thank you.
Mahalo. Um, hopefully you can translate this into something that can help you to flesh out things, and that question of why can make more sense. And it doesn't have to only apply to you, but it applies to everybody else. When you evaluate how everybody fits together with the everybody else's, when people when everybody doesn't know their role and they're doing everybody's kuleana and they're all over the place and all on top of each other, wrong already. Okay, mahalo, Tammy.
So I think when you were explaining all of that, I was getting texts from people on the call being like, oh my God, this is the person she's talking about, right? From multiple people. So, I mean, I think a lot of what you said, right, at different points, I think resonated with a bunch of us, if not all of us, in different ways. And I think we see ourselves in some of what you talked about. We see people in our lives who fit that. And I think just thinking about how we identify, kulana and kuleana and how we separate them and how they are maybe not separate, is really, it gives us a good outlook on how to think about these things.
I have a question.
Aye.
So, Dre used convention. This should be a t-shirt, all that kind of stuff, right? And she's very true. There are a lot of maha'ois. But I think when you say that, yeah, they feel like they have the right to ask and inquire. There's people in the Civic Club, and I think they are well-intended, some of them, but
Mhm.
then we have the kupuna types that are just way up there. And, it's like you want to be respectful, because you love them, but it's just sometimes it's like, it's just not for you. Well, not, them with their approach and the way they ask. And it's like, it's just not for you. This may not be for you. I'm sorry, Auntie. So I think that's a little sensitive, when we try to direct and we try to come to the kupuna ones, the ones who have been there forever, bless sweetheart. And how do you're gonna give them a kulana and kuleana t-shirt. Well, yeah, we all had this lesson. We attended this workshop. How do you get our other older kupuna people to kind of get into that mindset? They probably think they already know in their mind what kuleana and kuleana means. They have their own definition. It is not the kumuhina definition. So I was just thinking about that because I know convention is coming soon, and we go through that. So thank you for letting me ask.
Mahalo. And to respond to Luann, you're exactly right. Get plenty people that they don't know this version of kulana and kuleana. And the only reason why I understand this from the perspective that I do is because I've had many years to think about it. I've even had to reconcile, allow this comment to sit with you in whatever way it needs to. Being Hawaiian in Hawaii, it's no it's absolutely clear the political forces that govern us. We're not Hawaiians in the Hawaiian world being governed by Hawaiian societal values and Hawaiian etiquette, Hawaiian laws. We're not in that situation. We're Hawaiians living in American governed politics. So American governed politics usually means Republican, Democrat, bipartisan, excuse me. And so it it puts rifts in the community where it should not be for us, because it takes us away from the centering of being Kanaka. Let me give you a clear example. One side of American politics would look at somebody like me and absolutely have great disdain, distaste, and just disavow, disconnect me from anything because I am not something that is endorsed, supported, or even respected according to that politic. But in our culture, if we live by aloha, color, skin color, height, weight, mi, kane, wahine, mahu, it doesn't matter. Aloha, we aloha people, we take care of people. But as a culture and as a people now, we are forced in these silos because this is the prevailing politic above us. So swinging it back to kulana and kuleana. Let me give you another real life kumuhina example. Mahu in the community have asked me, in light of current politics, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And they're very apprehensive because current American politics are not governed by people who have aloha for somebody like me. And they say, kumuhina, what are we going to do? And I said, yeah, you're not going to do anything. Don't pay any attention. And this is why. You in Hawaii? And they were all Hawaiian. I said, and you're Hawaiian. Why are you going to allow an outside culture and an outside way of thinking and looking at life to come in and unsettle you, uproot you, and toss you all over when you don't need to? Who said? It's like the boogeyman. Like, oh, the boogeyman going to get you. The boogeyman going to get me. Boogeyman not going to get you. I don't have to worry about how outsiders feel about somebody like me and what they think, because my culture, there's a word that acknowledges somebody like me, and people who follow who this word might apply, that word is mahu, can look like me, can look like some other people. There's a whole spectrum of how we can look. But what is the basic understanding of Hawaiian culture? Aloha. You aloha the people. You see somebody hungry, you feed them. You see somebody who need kokua, you help them. We laulima. We work together. We don't turn people away. We don't treat others you know, we don't treat others in the same way that how sort of like the American approach to doing it. It should rightfully be a different life here if we're living according to island and according to Kanaka ways. And so in my family, through my own father's teaching, yes, I was born my family's son, and then I transitioned to be my family's daughter. Was it to my family's liking? My mother couldn't stand it. My mother was like, ugh, gross. And she told me that to my face. You know, my father, I'm sure I disappointed him, but he never said anything to me. Do you know what allowed me to earn respect in my family and to earn my place, and don't anybody dare come tell me anything about my life's personal choices, is kulana and kuleana. I am on one side of my family, I'm the youngest. On the other side of the family, I'm the oldest. Both come with different responsibilities. On both sides, I fulfilled those responsibilities. As my father's youngest child, it fell upon me to be my grandma's caregiver, day in, day out, all different kind times. My life revolved around her. I didn't necessarily have young people's life like other young people when I was young. If I wanted something, sure, I could have it. But knowing my role in the family, am I fulfilling my responsibility? I can get them, but if I'm towing the line, if I'm pulling my weight, so my family didn't say not one word to me. My father, my very first relationship, you can imagine, Hinale back in the day, and I roll up with my tall boyfriend, Samoan man, good looking too, 6'3", football player looking. Roll up with him in the house. Didn't ask my family if he could stay anything. I just rolled on up in the house. And do you know why? Because I'm the one who was responsible for doing everything. I'm the one who cook. I'm the one who clean. I'm the one who drove my grandmother to all her appointments, to all the shopping. I'm the one running stuff. My father kept us financially going, but I'm the one that executed everything. So nobody was going to tell me anything. And I took care of the family matriarch. So all the rest of my grandma's siblings, none of them and none of their family is telling me something about my life choices because it's not their business. I'm not worried, and I didn't care about what anybody else said, because my role is this: I am my father's youngest child. That's my place. I am a resident of my house. That's my place. And therefore, my duty, obligation, responsibility is all of these things. But that's okay, because it's not a burden. It's my privilege. It's my honor. And I'm going to do it. And by doing so, my father would not say one word, not one cross eye, not one negative, nasty thing, nothing. That he didn't have a son anymore, he had a daughter. Ha ha. You know, so it was proof in my own life. I'm sure my parents had their sentiments. I'm sure my family had their sentiments. But none of my family come tell me not one thing. Because why? I'm in the role and I'm hauling my weight and more. That's it. This is how I understand role responsibility. You want acceptance? You want to be welcome? You want to have a place? You want to be able to be respected for your decisions? You want to be able to be honored? And you want to feel like you belong? Okay, well, know who you are, know your role, and know what you got to do. That is the very, very basic, boil it down to its main components in Hawaiian life. That's my understanding. And all of the Hawaiian families and even the other Pacific Island families that I've ever been connected to, doesn't matter, you are who you are. But do you know who you are, and do you know what you're supposed to be doing?
I just like said mahalo so much. I'm
Mahalo.
smiling, but at the same time, I'm a little emotional because I'm listening to you, and it took me, I think, till I turned 40 to know how to say no and mean it.
Mhm.
And even now in my kuleana, whether it's at work or in community, as Kanaka, as a wahine in my family and being the oldest, I
Mhm.
totally understand where you're coming from, because understanding your role and your kuleana, especially listening to Auntie Luann talk about, some of our kupuna,
Mhm.
who may not, be Ohana necessarily, but they have so much to say about what they think your kuleana is and your kulana is. And it's like, it took me a long time to understand my kulana and my kuleana in different ways, whether it was at work, at home, in community work. And I wish I had this Hina TED Talk like 10 years ago. This would have been so helpful, but I I hope that we can have this for some of the youth that are, thinking about joining the Hawaiian Civic Club, because as leaders in the community, it's so important to understand this and be okay with it. Because I find myself, I used to be not scatterbrained, but it's like pulled in every which direction, because I felt like, oh my gosh, I have to help them. They're asking me for, I gotta go help, this person. And it's like at the end of it all, I found myself burnt out, just anxious all the time, because, I'm trying to check off all the things I was supposed to do. I should have did, and all of those things. And so I guess for me, I just want to say mahalo for sharing, because it's so important. And it's just confirmation, like I think in the Western way, they talk about setting boundaries, and I feel like that's part of it, is, knowing your kulana and kuleana and being able to set those boundaries with others, especially for those that you love. I feel most all of us here, we love our lahui, but it's sometimes the work and the weight is so heavy. So just mahalo for sharing and all of it, this whole discussion. Mahalo.
Thank you, Stace. I think she may have had a technical, because I think she just kind of signed off. And I'm sure that was not intentional. So why don't we do this? Why don't we pause the discussion? Because I'm sure we could go all night. Maybe, oh, and here she's calling me. This is what I'm going to ask everyone on camera, and then we'll take our group picture, and then I'm going to mute and take her call. Okay, technical difficulties indeed. So, whoever wants to camera, we're gonna do this really quick, and then we'll wrap up our meeting and call it a night. Okay, so do you want to jump in the meeting? I mean, in the picture? Okay. All right. I'm going to take a picture on the count of 3. Everyone make happy face. 1, 2, 3. Okay, wait, yay. Oh no, we're gonna take this again. Okay, one more time because I was making a weird face. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay, perfect. Thank you everyone for jumping on the call today. I thought it was a great, I mean, I said it on the meeting, like I felt very seen at certain points. But thank you everyone for joining. We will kind of reconvene next month. And then of course, we're getting ready for the Civic Club convention. See most of you in Kona and see you next month. Take care, everyone. Ahoy ho.
Thanks, Drake.
Thank you.